Oh, would you look at that? The Hex Girls released a new single. Definitely gotta check this out. Hold on a sec. Earth, wind, fire, air. If Avatar's taught me anything, it's earth, fire, water, air, first of all. And air and wind, those are like the exact same thing. Oh well, it's a catchy song, who cares? Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another video. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 6th movie on my list of every single Scooby Doo movie to review. And today's movie is going to be Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. So Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost is another one of those classic Scooby Doo films for me because it came out in, I want to say it was 1999, which is just before I was born. So it was like, this is one of the Scooby Doo films that was around and popular probably right when I was being born, right when I was just getting into Scooby Doo. This whole time period, like this, Zombie Island, Alien Invaders, Cyber Chase, all of that stuff, that's like, to me, that's my classic Scooby-Doo. And going back to this film, I still absolutely love it. I think that this film does a great job of balancing between giving us typical Scooby-Doo that we know and love, where there's a person or a group of people who are behind a mask, like pretending to be a monster / ghost, while also giving us paranormal like activity and real ghosts, real monsters, real witches in this case, and I really liked that. So the first half of this film, or probably more realistically the first 2/3 of this film, follow a typical Scooby-Doo plot where there's the gang, they go to a location, they find out that there's a mystery to solve, they start looking for clues, they get chased by the monster a couple times, and then they unmask them. And personally, I really like that. I think that just that by itself, this was a good film. It was really well done. We got a nice mix of like the gang splitting up, getting to see each of their different takes on like the mystery solving. For that reason, I really liked the scenes where Fred and Daphne were following Thorn, Velma and Ben were following, or no, they weren't following someone, sorry. They were checking out the cherry picker in that shed, and then Scooby and Shaggy were following the mayor. And I really liked how we got like 3 different aspects of the mystery solving, how Velma's investigating, Fred and Daphne are kind of like, Fred and Daphne and Scooby and Shaggy are both like searching down potential suspects, but they do it in different ways kind of, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like they each have their own unique style of mystery solving and we get to see each of them in those moments. I think that if the movie had just ended when Thorn's dad was unmasked and we found out that the whole town was behind it, that's still a good Scooby-Doo movie. Like, that's still a solid 8, maybe even a 9 out of 10. But then after that, we have the twist with Ben Ravencroft, and he's like, yeah, just kidding, his great aunt or he's a descendant of the evil Ravencroft witch, which everyone was like, throughout the whole movie, he's like, she's not a witch, she's a Wiccan, she was like, she's innocent, like he's trying to convince everyone of her innocence. And throughout the whole film, you're like, oh, this sucks for her, like, she was wrongly accused as being a witch, and then all of a sudden he's like, just kidding, the journal that I was trying to get is actually a spell book, and she was a witch, and I've been lying to you guys all along. I really liked that twist personally. Like, you can see it coming, like, he acts very suspicious throughout all of it. He's like, where's the journal, I need that journal, and it's like obsessive to the point where like, okay, he doesn't want to prove her innocence, like he needs that journal. And Fred, I want to say it's Fred or Velma, one of the two either mentions that, and it kind of hints you off like, hey, be prepared for this guy. This guy's a danger. And I like that. I like that twist. I like that they had you going one way where maybe in the end of the film, they're going to find the journal and he's going to get his happy ending. On first viewing, you could think that that's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, turns out he's evil, and he brings her back to life, and then we get Paranormal Activity. I've already talked in the Zombie Island how I love the real monsters. I really like the real monsters in like the older straight-to-TV movies as well, but those ones, like the monsters aren't scary, like I said, they're kind of cartoony and comedic, whereas in the zombies and the werecats, they're pretty scary. This ghost kind of blends between scary and comedic because like, she is an opposing threat. She is evil, so I guess she falls more into the zombies from Zombie Island, which is why I like her so much. But she still is, like, a little comedic, I guess. Like, she gets the bucket stuck on her head at one point, and she's, like, flailing around with that, and Scooby just, like, or Shaggy, sorry, just yanks the book out of her hand. He's like, I'll take that. And, like, it's kind of comedic, so she's not, like, a huge threat. I maybe would have liked to see her as a bigger threat, maybe take that. That's the only comedic moment I can think of. But just in general, she doesn't feel like a huge threat to me. So I would have liked to have her as full scary monster instead of mostly scary opposing monster with a little bit of comedy. So it's been well over 10, maybe even close to 15 years since I first watched this film, and probably like 8 years since I last watched it. The stuff that really stuck out for me in this film was the stuff with the real witch. Like, when she turns the pumpkins into little minions, that I remember. Like, that stuck with me. Same with when she's chasing the gang and she's shooting out the tires. That scene stuck with me. And these scenes with the witch and she's terrorizing the gang, I feel like they're, like, iconic for this movie. Maybe not iconic's the right word, but those are the scenes that stuck with me. And just like in Zombie Island, where the scene where they pull off the zombie's head and it turns out he's not in a mask, he's real, that's the scene that sticks with you in that film. In this film, it's like the use of real magic and how the witch is like, she's killing trees, she's rotting wood. That's another thing where Shaggy and Scooby are caught in the wheel. I vividly remembered that moment as well. Just all that magic stuff, that's the stuff that stuck with me because it's so unique for Scooby Doo. We don't see witchcraft a lot, we don't see evil magic a lot in Scooby Doo. And that stuff just stuck with me so much when I first watched it, and that's probably the reason why I still like this film so much to this day. So I have talked about how there's kind of two plots to this film. There's the normal Scooby-Doo plot with a man in a mask, and then there's the paranormal Scooby-Doo plot. Some people may think that this is like too much, maybe it should have been two different movies. I don't know, I don't read or watch reviews of movies I'm going to review imminently, so I don't know if people actually feel like that, but I'm going to defend it anyways because I think that this movie works better with two plots. I already said that the first plot with the unmasking of the fake witch is really good and it still would have been a great movie, and this just like this, it's basically a third act tacked onto the end is the paranormal stuff, and I think that worked really well this way because if it was the witch, like the real witch was the main villain throughout the entire film, it wouldn't make sense why she would give up, right? Like, she's pure evil, she's going to try and destroy the entire world. It wouldn't make sense for the gang to spend an entire movie trying to corral her. It makes sense that it's only a third act, it's one big confrontation. And I think that this movie, it works really well like this. Like, I love this. I love that it's kind of two different stories that are tied together by common threads. I really like that. I think it's really well done, and if these two plots were different, like separate movies, I think that the first plot honestly would have been really good still, but the second one, I don't think I would have liked that much. Like, I love that part of this movie, like that's my favorite part of this movie, but if it was by itself as its own separate movie, I don't think I would have liked it as much. So just that bringing together the fake monsters and the real monsters, I think that overall it works a lot better than it would have if they had done them separately, and I really like they did it this way. So aside from that, something else that I really enjoyed was the use of the Hex Girls. I really like the Hex Girls in Scooby Doo. They're my favorite minor recurring character. Whenever they show up in a movie or an episode of a TV show, I really enjoy it. So I was really happy to see that they were given a prominent role in this film. All three of them had quite a lot of screen time, especially Thorn. I love that, like, she was kind of a suspect and then she was changed into almost like the hero, you want to call it, by the end, because she's given the main role in defeating Ravencroft's, like, the witch ghost, and I really liked that. I really liked seeing the three of them, and I hope that in, like, some of the future Scooby-Doo films that are upcoming, they try to give them some more prominent roles, because I know they were in The Ghost of the Vampire, and they were in Mystery Incorporated for a couple episodes, but honestly, besides that, I can't remember what else they've been in. Like, I think they've been in a couple others. So yeah, just in general, I liked seeing them be given a lot to do in this film, and I hope to see some more of them in the future. But yeah, that is basically all I have to say. In terms of negatives, I honestly can't really think of anything. Like, I really like this film. I love this film even. It's one of my favorite Scooby Doo films probably. It's not as good as Zombie Island. Like, while I was able to nitpick flaws with Zombie Island, I can't nitpick flaws in this film, but it's just like the good stuff isn't as good as Zombie Island, if that makes sense. Like, hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, it's a great film. It's got nothing that I can think of that's wrong with it. It's just not as good and not on the same level as something like Zombie Island. So as I get into the ratings here, this one's a tough one to rate because I don't want to give it a 10 out of 10 because Zombie Island got a 10 out of 10 and I don't like it as much as Zombie Island, but I can't think of anything wrong with this film. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed this film. I love this film. It's a great Scooby Doo film. Watch it if you haven't already. I highly suggest it. But it's just not the same level of 10 out of 10 as something like Zombie Island. So you can take that rating and do whatever you want with it. Honestly, the ratings are like the least important part of these reviews, in my opinion. Hearing what I have to say, like telling you guys what I want to say, is what's most important for me. The actual ratings itself is just a number to tag on at the end for anyone who's interested. But yeah, this is a great film. Zombie Island's great as well. They're both 10 out of 10s, but if you had to pick one, Zombie Island's better. Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost isn't the best Scooby Doo film, but it's honestly one of my favorites, probably one of the best Scooby Doo films. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already. Speaking of checking things out, make sure you check out my Zombie Island review that I posted last week. You can see that right here. As well, if you want to see the rest of my Scooby Doo reviews, you can see the playlist linked at the bottom. So up next week is Scooby Doo and Alien Invaders, another one that I'm really looking forward to rewatching and reviewing. But yeah, in terms of this review, that's all I have to say. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new around here. If you want more updates on my videos, make sure to check out my Instagram, ntd_films. Thank you guys all for watching, and have a good day.